Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dr. B, child psychologist and boy mom, and I have a really good video today. I want to see who out there has tried to get their kids off of the video game and had a big major blowout. I know me. And this is an area that I am trying to work on a lot more with my boys. I was against video games just because I am pretty heavy into the research on what it does to your brain wiring, but I'm outnumbered being the only female and mom, and that was a big thing that they wanted. So I'm having to try to work on limiting the amount of screen time and also helping them transition off of it, because I realize it's designed to really gain as much attention as possible. And for those who don't know, video games are set up to be the most rewarding or reinforcing to get a person to keep playing more of it, because that's how they make money. So it is really hard. And can be really addictive. And I think just going from that stimulation onto another task can be very tricky. So I'm going to talk about some tips to help your kid transition off of the video games without having a major blowout. For those of you who don't work with me closely, you'll come to realize that I am a huge fan of having a visual cue, not just a verbal cue, a visual. So a picture. I love whiteboards, so I'm going to be using one today. This is just a little mini whiteboard, dry erase marker. I use this for my morning lists, my afternoon lists with the kids, because that way we can erase it and change it. And I'll talk a little bit more about lists in another video. But in terms of transitioning, it's good to have a visual, because a lot of times they just tune out. They don't hear what we're saying. Some kids have trouble processing verbal information, so it is really good to give them a visual cue. And also, what we're going to be doing is preparing them. And it's a little trick called priming the cognitive pump. Cognitive meaning, I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to be using my brain. Pump, like a water pump. You think about when you go and pump one of those old classic water pumps. There's one pump and it gets the air through. There's another pump. It starts to pump the water up. And then the third pump, you get the water flowing out. So that's the visual for you, but we're going to be using the whiteboard visual. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get their attention by getting eye contact. Now, you know, they don't have to look you right in the eyeballs, but you want to get them looking towards you. So I would say something like, okay, boys, in 10 minutes, but first of all, I need your eyeballs looking at me and thinking about the space around us, okay? So when you get them looking at you, okay, your eyeballs and thinking about the space, that means me and the room as I'm talking to you. Okay, got it, good. Well, boys, I want to let you know that in 10 minutes, you're going to be finishing the video games, and then we are going to wash our hands for dinner. After you give them this, you want to get them to paraphrase it back. So whoever, if you only have one kid, obviously, if there's more than one kid, you can, go to one and say, okay, tell me, what did I just say? What are we going to be doing? Hopefully they get at least part of it. And it's okay if they don't get the whole thing. That's why we want to check and have them repeat it back to us, because we want to make sure it's very clear. Sometimes they might say, stop playing video games. Okay, and when are we going to stop playing video games? You can ask them, oh yeah, okay, 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes, we're going to stop playing video game. And then what are we going to do? Yes, we're going to wash our hands for dinner. Okay, so here's our little boxes, because there's going to be 3 pumps. That's the first pump. You can go ahead and leave this where they can see it and check it. And now what this does is having this box here, it also lets them know in case one of them heard and the other one didn't hear all of it, or remember, or was only halfway paying attention. Seeing this is a cue that there's going to be a change happening. So it also gives them a heads up that way. Okay, look, there's been 1 pump. They can check in with the other one. There's a way to do this in the classroom also, but it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have it out, and you're just going to get a student from one classroom to be able to repeat that back. Okay, good. And then when you go, the second pump is going to be after 5 minutes. So then you'll come back in and you say, okay, boys, in 5 minutes, you're going to stop playing video games, and then we're going to wash hands for dinner, okay? And then you can ask the other one, or if you just have one child, ask them again, okay, what are we going to do? All right, get them to repeat back when? 5 minutes. All right, you guys have 5 more minutes. Start thinking about what you need to do to pause or wrap up in the game. And you go ahead and you check this little box. Okay? Then, after those 5 minutes, you're going to come back in and say, guess what, boys? It's time to put the games up. And then what are we doing? Yes, we're washing our hands and going to dinner. So that way, again, they've had the countdown, they've had the preparation. Now, you still might get some pushback. You still might get some comments, and that's okay. But you've checked in with them. You've prepared them that a change is coming. I'm going to be getting off the video games, and it helps them ease into it because they know what's going to happen, and it's not very abrupt. Using these visuals, really important. Also getting their attention. Okay, I need your eyeballs looking at me and thinking about this space and thinking about what I'm going to be saying, and getting them to repeat it back, and it's giving them the countdown so they know it's coming. Typically, if you already have expectations in place for not following rules or listening, they know that then, and this is kind of like counting or giving the countdown. But it is really important to have some kind of transition to help them go, especially when it has to do with screens. I'm going to talk a little bit more about balancing screen time because it's a challenge and I'm still learning as I go. And I know we all get busy, and I know I get busy and tired, and sometimes it is easier to just let them play because they're quiet, they're not in your hair. But it is really important to try to balance that time. And so some of the videos that I'm going to talk about in the future are going to be how to balance out the aggressive neuron mirroring that happens from being exposed to too many aggressive type games, which it actually is called neuron mirroring, where it's going to build more of those aggressive neurons in the brain, and you can do something to help process it and bounce it back out. There's also a lot of studies that show, I know they say no more than 2 hours a day, but I don't know, I'm finding that almost impossible. I might need some help with that from you all, but definitely green time for screen time. So trying to swap out at least a couple hours of green time to balance out the screen time. But we'll talk more about that later. But try out this priming the cognitive pump, at least with the video games, or you can do it with any transition. If they're watching television, same thing you can do. If they're playing a game, same thing. But let me know how that goes, and I will be doing this along with you. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Bye.